Welcome back. We've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to look a little bit at the economic calendar. We'll talk a little bit about what Bitcoin did over the weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about the overall market and some other things here. And before we get going, I'd like to talk about a YouTube channel I've been acquainted with. It is Capital Curiosities. They talk about fiscal histories and scams and other such scandals that had happened throughout history that have to do with money and finance and business and such. They've got a new video out that came out, I believe, yesterday about the greatest scammer you've never heard of in New York City, George C. Parker. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, I have found it enjoyable. Go ahead and check them out. First of all, we've got a big week coming up this week. We've got ISM today, PMI services PMI today, trade deficit tomorrow. That's going to be a big one. Wednesday is the biggest day of the week with FOMC. Are we going to get a rate cut? It doesn't seem likely, but you know what? They might surprise us if there's data to back that decision. We'll see. They've been holding a pretty hard line that they're not going to cut rates, so I'm not expecting it, but man, if they do it, that'd be pretty exciting. Then Thursday, we've got jobless claims. And then Friday, we've got all the Fed chairs. We got so many Fed chairs. I'm going to probably go just dig my head in the sand on Friday because that looks like it's just absolutely stacked to completely wreck me. So I'm not at all interested in Friday whatsoever. So that's what's stacking up right now. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. How did Bitcoin do over the weekend? This is the hourly. That's not a daily. It did badly. It broke out of my channel. What did I say here? I said if it loses this line, it's going to hit the bottom of my channel. If it breaks out of my channel, we're going to hit the 21-day moving average. That's what I said. Okay, so we broke beneath my channel here. We got a candle completely disconnected from my channel here. To get back into that channel, it would have to go back up to $96,000. We're making a doji down here, which means that the price is happy with this position right here. So it could go either way. And going either way means that we are absolutely open up to hitting the 21-day moving average, which is currently at $92,000, which would really line up nicely with an FOMC that is disappointing. So if FOMC is disappointing, you better believe we're going to hit this line. We might even come and hit the 50 at $89,000 just to absolutely scare the pants off of everyone if FOMC is not favorable to us on Wednesday. Okay, if he sounds at all hawkish, you better believe that 50 could get hit. All right, so pay attention to that. This is setting up for an FOMC scare, basically, is what I am looking at. Now we could go up, we could crawl up, and then negate that. But right now, what I'm looking at is, all right, if we're going to be holding candles down here, we're going to be closing them beneath this green candle here from May 1st, and we got falling volume. I mean, this is on falling volume. Look at that volume. Let me bring that up. Look at that volume. It is just falling down right there. It's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So that's interesting. You can also see, though, the volume oscillator is about to flip and turn red. So I don't like that. The BX trender is also showing momentum is getting weaker as we went higher here. So that's not good. All this is kind of setting up for, yeah, we're going to hit the 21. We might even hit the 50. The fact that we're dancing beneath this big engulfing green candle here from May 1st is bad. So yeah, I'd be looking at it to come to these lows down here, touch these lows at the 21, and if that doesn't hold, if FOMC is not favorable, I'd be looking at 89. And how are the miners reacting to this? Badly. They're reacting badly. Look at this disgusting candle here. That's from Friday. Today we're in the pre-market right now, and it is down almost 4%. Miners aren't going to perform if Bitcoin isn't perform, and they've shown that they're going to perform like hot garbage unless Bitcoin is overperforming. Okay, Bitcoin must overperform for miners to perform at all right now, and that's become the dynamic, a very frustrating dynamic. If you are frustrated by this, I mean, I'm there with you, but also, it's important to be diversified. Of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. In my opinion, if your portfolio is largely taken up by holding Bitcoin miners, you are in a position to completely wreck yourself. You do not want to do that right now. Like if you're not looking at things like QQQ, right? If you're not looking at QQQ, which has been doing great while things like CleanSpark have been doing terrible here in the last couple weeks, then you're doing it wrong. If you're losing sleep over how much you've got allocated to a specific asset, well, then you've got too much allocated to that asset. You need to rediversify and make money elsewhere. Also, these plays aren't going to be hot all the time. So when they're hot, and they're hot for a very short amount of time, and then they're very, very cold and boring. It's like watching paint dry from that point on until they're hot again for a very short amount of time. Okay. The only reason I cover them so frequently is because we don't know when they're going to pop off. And when it's, when we're down in the dumps, I do like to accumulate, but I do not want to over accumulate. Okay. That is basically what I'm trying to say there. Lately, I've been moving from play to play. Like I was in VRT for a while here. I was in VRT basically from $67 all the way up to about $90, which wasn't a bad little move right there. We're talking about like from here to about there. We're looking at like a 30% move. And that one from top to bottom, I've been talking about it on the way down, and I've been talking about it on the way up, right? So I've been talking about if you caught the bottom. Now, I'm not saying you would have, because that would be exceptionally difficult. But if you caught the bottom, yeah, you made 77% so far. Okay, pretty exciting. We hit the 200-day moving average. I'm going to kind of wait for it to come back down and test the 50-day moving average before carrying back on again. So I'm not really interested in Vertiv right now. I made my money there, and now I've moved on to APP, right? Which was the next App11, which was the next interesting thing for me. It came down, hit the 200-day moving average. It came up, retested it from above, and then bounced off of it inside of this nice little channel right here. It broke this descending trend line and started forming a channel here. So I got into it, and so far I've made about $600 in a couple of days, and I'm set to make another $1,200 over the next week and a half or so. Okay, off of this stock here, because I'm moving around. I'm not sitting still. Now, if you've got an 8 to 5 and your hours don't work out to where you can do trading like before or after on these things, well, then you're probably not doing what I'm doing. Okay, you're probably not in a position. You're more in a buy and hold and wait position, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It just makes it a little more difficult. You have to be a little more strategic. It's a lot harder to hold things like CleanSpark warrants when that is your life, because it moves a lot and it's scary. And when you come home from work and you see that, oh, I'm down 20% today, that's going to be a very emotional moment. So yeah, that's harder. That's why I'm saying, like, if you're not looking at QQQ, you're probably doing it wrong. Or if you're if you made a lot of money in the stock market already and you're looking towards the end of your investment journey, something and you still don't really have time to look at it, or you don't want to look at it every day, you got things like JEPQ that pays an 11%. I think it's currently an 11% dividend right now, and it tracks the QQQ. Now, you're only going to get about 70% of the performance of the QQQ, but you also get that 10-11% dividend based on their covered call strategy. So, I mean, if you're looking at warrants, but you don't know things like JEPQ exists, you're doing it wrong. Okay, you need to know these things exist. You need to pay attention to them. And I'm not saying what you should allocate to in any way at all, but be aware of the existence of these other assets. Understand what they are, what they do, what their function is, and if it has a place in your portfolio after you understand what it is and what it does, well, then you should probably be looking at it more. You should at least know that it exists, right? Or like now this one's been a big disappointment to me, but SCHD, I used to have tons and tons and tons and tons of SCHD. I had like a third of my portfolio at one point was SCHD back in like 2020, 2021, and it came up. I made my money, and then honestly, since then, it's been a very disappointing sort of run, right? I mean, the biggest run was what, 30%, which is, I mean, QQQ did that just in the last couple days, right? Whereas they're still like moving like $1 or $2 up and down, and it's been just 21% in just a couple of weeks. Where SCHD was, I mean, maybe it'll perform better in the future, but I'd been holding it for years, and like it was, before that it was moving like 12% a year, and then suddenly it started moving like 4 or 5% a year ever since 2021. So I got out of it, but it's one of those ones that has a good consistent dividend, right? It pays 3 to 4% generally. Right now it's making a big old bear flag, so I'd be looking at this to come back down right now. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say about that one. Anyways, so this week, what are we looking at right now? So Palantir has earnings this week. That's actually, I think it's today. Is it today? Yeah, today. Today in the evening, we got Palantir earnings. I'm looking at Palantir to do something interesting. Now, it's at the all-time highs. It is at the all-time highs now. Is this going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news? Or is this going to be a buy the rumor, buy the news? Is this going to be just a nothing burger because it got all this movement here in the last couple of weeks leading into earnings? Leading into earnings, it's moved up 87%, and that's just since April 7th. In less than a month, it's moved up 87%. What is this, a crypto with those kinds of moves? I don't know, but this is why I've been in Palantir over and over again. I did make some money on the way up here, not as much as I could have, but I made more. I made some money on that. Then I moved to VRT, and then I made my money on that. And then I moved to App11, and I made my money on that. And now I'm looking for the next move, which could be Palantir. Like sometimes you go back and forth between the same ones, right? It could be Palantir now. It could be AMD now. It could be SoFi now. It could be whatever. But I'm looking. I'm watching for that next kind of thing that I'm going to put some money into while I'm kind of waiting for the market to make a decision. Hims was really interesting. I did make a little bit of money on this as well into that pullback, and it went up, and then I sold that, and I probably should have held it. Oh well, the one I'm looking at right now is Bull. I've been watching Bull right now. I'm watching Bull. It came down really, really, really hard all the way to the base, and then it's doing some like moves up and down right here, right? And the options are real juicy. So if you know how to sell an option, Bull has been really good to me right now. Does that mean it's going to continue to continue being good to me? No, doesn't. But I will keep trading it until it stops. Because honestly, right now, this one, I'm looking at it trading between a range of $13 to $16, and when it breaks out of $16, it's going to move right up to $25, and that's going to be a significant move, a significant gain for me in that position. Or if it comes down beneath $13, you know what? It's going to get caught at $11. So there's a higher reward to risk on Bull right now, in my opinion. In my opinion. Doesn't mean that that's truly the case, but that's my opinion. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Please do your own research, come to your own conclusions, be responsible for your own risk. All right. Now that we've got all that out of the way, I do need to say, on Bull, I am selling puts. What that means is I am selling a put option, and that if the strike price is, if the price of the stock is beneath the strike price I have chosen, I've got an array of them between $15 and $12. But on any of those, if price on the expiration date closes beneath my strike price, I have to buy 100 shares of Bull at that price. So for a strike price of $15, I would have to buy 100 shares at $15 no matter what the current price is. For the strike at $12, I would have to buy 100 shares at $12 no matter what the price of Bull is, as long as it is beneath 12. If it's above 12, I keep my premium. I don't do anything, and I can just sell another put option. If it's, my 15 strike, if it's above 15, I don't need to do anything. I just collect premium and sell another one. If it's beneath, then I have to buy. That's how that works. And you get paid for that. You're basically selling insurance to other traders, or to probably a hedge fund or investment bank, honestly. You're selling them insurance. This is the most effective way I've found to make money over consistently when things are kind of like boring and I don't really have anywhere to place my money for like a really long, Hail Mary play or anything. I like to sell puts. Okay, so learn how to do that. Go look that up. Learn how to do that. Learn what it is. Learn how it works. Understand its functions. If you want me to do a video on it at some point, I do the wheel. I do Income Machine. Go watch the Income Machine videos. I talk about it. If you need something more in-depth than that, let me know. I can try to do that for you to make sure everyone's on the same page. Because I think, honestly, in my opinion, selling puts is probably the most profitable thing to do right now. As there's all this uncertainty, we don't know which way it's going to go. While we are waiting for direction, selling puts has been the most profitable for me. Okay. In terms of, let's get back to the miners. So miners, until Bitcoin is showing that this is a a bull flag. Until Bitcoin shows that this is either a breakdown or a bull flag, we will not get direction on the miners. They will piddle around. They will lose 4 or 5%, gain 1%. They'll take 2 steps back and 1 step forward until Bitcoin shows that this is a bull flag, or until we are doing outperformance from Bitcoin. Until then, we're really not going to see anything out of the miners. All right, they're going to go sideways. They're going to go down. They're going to do all sorts of things. They're going to freak us out. They're just going to be like washing paint dry until we get these things showing that Bitcoin is ready to rip. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.